Admiral Alan Carter stood alone at the large window of Earth's last space station. His tired eyes watched as strange ships filled the darkness around Earth. The blue planet below seemed so peaceful from here. No one down there knew what was about to happen. "Admiral, they're sending another message," said Lieutenant Frank Moore, his voice tight with worry. Carter turned from the window. The room was bathed in red emergency lights. 20 of Earth's best space officers worked at their stations. Their faces showed fear, but they kept working. "Put it on screen," Carter ordered. A large alien face appeared on the main screen. The creature had gray skin, 4 yellow eyes, and no visible mouth. This was Ambassador Krell of the Vorkan race, now speaking for the entire Galactic Council. "Humans of Earth, you have 1 hour to surrender control of your planet. You have broken our laws by talking to the Araxian species without permission. The penalty is loss of your independence. If you fight, we will destroy your cities one by one." The screen went black. Everyone in the room looked at Carter. "Sir, what do we do?" asked Moore. "We don't have enough ships to fight them." Carter's face showed no emotion. "This was never about the Araxians. 3 weeks ago, we found xanthium in Earth's crust, the most valuable material in the galaxy. The Council wants it, and they made up a reason to take it." He walked to his command station and placed his hand on a scanner. A hidden panel opened in the wall, revealing a red button protected by glass. "Lieutenant, send the coded message to all our hidden bunkers. 2 words, Lazarus begins." Moore's eyes widened. "Protocol Lazarus? But sir, that means—" "It means Earth will appear to fall," Carter said quietly. "But we will survive, and we will return." Across Earth, hidden doors opened in mountains, under oceans, and beneath ordinary-looking buildings. Selected people, scientists, soldiers, doctors, engineers, artists, were quickly moved inside. Each person had been chosen years ago for this moment. None of them knew what was happening until now. Dr. Elizabeth Wright sat in a cold cell on the Galactic Council's main space station. As Earth's ambassador, she had tried to show evidence that humans never contacted the Araxians. But before she could present this proof, guards arrested her for spying. Elizabeth knew the truth. She had discovered secret voting records showing 3 council races, the Vorkans, Tritaxians, and Medusans, had planned this attack together. They knew about the xanthium before humans did. They needed a reason to take Earth, and they made one up. Before her arrest, Elizabeth had sent this information to Earth in a special code. She hoped Admiral Carter received it. She hoped he would activate Protocol Lazarus, a plan so secret that only 5 humans knew all the details. The plan had begun 10 years ago, when humans first joined the Galactic Council. Some leaders didn't trust the aliens completely. They built huge ships disguised as mining operations far out in the solar system. They created technology the Council didn't know about. They prepared for the worst, while hoping for the best. In his private room, Carter opened a small box containing photos of his family. His wife and daughter lived in San Francisco. They didn't know about Protocol Lazarus. They wouldn't be among those saved in the bunkers. The plan could only save a small percentage of humanity, the ones needed to ensure humans would one day return. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the photos. He placed them back in the box and locked it. The station shook as the first enemy weapons hit. Alarms screamed throughout the structure. "Sir, they're attacking early," shouted Moore. Carter wasn't surprised. The Council never intended to wait an hour. "Send the surrender message exactly as we prepared it," he ordered. "But sir, we're just giving up? After everything they did to us?" The Admiral's eyes were hard as stone. "We're not giving up, Lieutenant. We're choosing when and how to fight. The Vorkan and their friends think they know humans. They think we'll either fight and die now or surrender and live as slaves. They don't understand that we can do something else entirely." On the main screen, they watched as Council ships moved toward Earth. Some headed for major cities, others for military bases. "Sir, all bunkers report ready. Selected personnel are 92% secured," reported an officer. Carter nodded. "And the Arcs?" "Final. Preparations continuing. Estimated completion in 4 days. Another explosion rocked the station. Parts of the ceiling fell. A fire started near the back wall. "Time to go," Carter said. "Everyone to the escape pods. Head for the designated bunkers." As his crew rushed to evacuate, Carter stayed at his station. He entered a series of commands that would erase all data about Protocol Lazarus from Earth's systems. As far as the Council would be able to tell, humans had no plan beyond a hopeless defense. Moore paused at the door. "Admiral, we need to go now." "One moment." Carter opened a channel to all Earth military forces. "This is Admiral Carter. We have surrendered to save civilian lives. Do not, I repeat, do not engage Council forces. That is an order." He knew many would be angry. They would want to fight. But a conventional war would only waste lives they couldn't afford to lose. "History will remember this day as Earth's defeat," Carter said as he joined Moore at the escape pod. "But I promise you, Lieutenant, the galaxy will remember what comes next for 1,000 years." As their pod shot away from the dying station, they watched Council ships enter Earth's atmosphere. The invasion had begun. To the Council, it seemed like an easy victory. They didn't know that deep in hidden bunkers, humanity was already planning its return. They didn't know about the massive ships waiting in the darkness beyond Neptune. They didn't know that human agents were already placed throughout Council space with new identities and orders to wait for signals. The Council thought they were being ruthless. They would learn that humans wrote the book on ruthlessness when fighting for survival. "How long?" Moore asked quietly, as Earth grew smaller behind them. "Years," Carter replied. "Maybe decades. But we will return. And when we do, the Council will know what true justice means." 3 years passed since the Council took Earth. Lieutenant Sofia Martinez guided her small ship through the broken pieces of what used to be the moon base. Her ship was special. It could hide from Council sensors. To anyone watching, it would look like just another piece of space junk. Sofia checked her oxygen levels. 6 hours left. Enough time to complete her mission and return to the hidden base on Mars. She adjusted her course, flying closer to what remained of Earth's moon. Since the invasion, Earth had changed. Council ships came and went freely. Large mining machines dug deep into the ground, pulling out the valuable xanthium. Humans who hadn't escaped worked in these mines or in factories. They lived under strict Council rules. The Council told the rest of the galaxy that humans were being punished fairly for breaking the rules. They said humans had tried to make friends with the Araxians without permission. But this was a lie. The Council wanted Earth's xanthium, and they made up a reason to take it. What the Council didn't know was that many humans had escaped. Before the invasion, Earth had built huge ships in secret. These ships, called arcs, were hidden in the far parts of the solar system. They looked like old mining stations that no one used anymore. But inside, they held thousands of humans. The best technology Earth had made, and weapons no one in the galaxy had seen before. Sophia's job was to take the final codes to these arcs. Once they had these codes, they could start their engines and leave the solar system. Martinez to control. "I'm approaching the drop point," Sophia said into her radio. A voice answered through static. "Control to Martinez. Be careful. Council patrols have increased in your area." Sophia frowned. This was unexpected. Had someone discovered their plan? She slowed her ship and checked her sensors again. Nothing showed up, but Council ships had better sensors than hers. She decided to take a longer route to be safe. Her ship moved slowly around large pieces of moon rock, staying in shadows whenever possible. On Earth, in what used to be the city of New York, Council Governor Zalthrak of the Vorkan race watched another shipment of xanthium being loaded onto transport ships. His 4 yellow eyes blinked with pleasure. The Vorkans had planned Earth's downfall, and now they were getting rich from it. "The humans are working well today," said his assistant, another Vorkan named Drek. "Yes," agreed Zalthrak. "They have finally accepted their place. It took some time, but breaking their spirit was easier than expected." What Zalthrak didn't know was that the quiet human worker standing nearby heard everything. John Boyd looked like any other tired mine worker, but he was actually part of the resistance. A small device in his ear translated the Vorkan's language. Another device hidden in his work glove recorded everything they said. Later that night, John would pass this information to another resistance member. Eventually, it would reach one of the hidden bunkers. Every piece of information helped humans understand their enemies better. Back in space, Sophia finally reached her destination, a small, unmarked satellite that looked broken. She docked her ship to it and went inside. The satellite seemed empty and dead, but when Sophia pressed her hand to a hidden scanner, lights came on. Identity confirmed. "Welcome, Lieutenant Martinez," said a computer voice. Sophia took a small computer chip from her pocket. This chip held the codes that would wake up the ARC ships. She put it into a slot on the wall. "Upload beginning," said the computer. Estimated time, 3 hours. Sophia settled in to wait. Just as the computer finished copying the data, alarms went off. "Warning, Council ship approaching." Sophia ran to a screen that showed outside. A large Council patrol ship was coming closer. They hadn't seen her ship yet, but they would soon. "Can we complete the transmission to the ARCs?" she asked. "Transmission 89% complete," the computer answered. "Cannot stop now without losing data." Sophia had to make a choice. If she left, the ARCs wouldn't get all the codes they needed. If she stayed, she might be caught. "How much longer?" she asked. 7 minutes to complete transmission. Sophia made her decision. "Continue the transmission. I'll distract them." She ran back to her ship and started the engines. Instead of hiding, she flew out into open space, away from the satellite and away from where the ARCs were hidden. The Council ship noticed her immediately. "Unidentified vessel. Stop and prepare to be boarded." Sophia didn't answer. She pushed her engines to full power and raced away. The Council ship followed just as she hoped. Back at the satellite, the computer finished sending the data to the ARCs. "Transmission complete. Initiating self-destruct sequence." The satellite began to break apart, destroying all evidence that Sophia had been there. In the deep space beyond Neptune, hidden among ice and rocks, the giant ARC ships received the codes. Lights began to turn on inside them. Engines that had been sleeping for 3 years started to warm up. Captain Ben Harris of the largest ARC, the New Dawn, looked at his crew. "It's time. Send the signal to all ARCs. We leave in 6 hours." Across the solar system, the other ARCs received the message and began preparations to leave. Meanwhile, Sophia led the Council ship on a long chase. Her smaller ship was faster, but the Council ship had better weapons. A blast hit her engine and her ship began to spin. "Control, this is Martinez. Mission accomplished, but I'm hit. I'm going to try for the Mars base, but if I don't make it, tell Admiral Carter that the ARCs got the codes." That night, alarms went off in every Council base in the solar system. Their sensors detected massive energy readings leaving the solar system, energy that could only come from very large ships. Zalthrak was woken from sleep by the news. "What do you mean, ships? Humans don't have ships that big." By the time the Council organized ships to follow, the human ARCs had activated their special void drives and technology the Council had never seen. The ARCs disappeared from all sensors, impossible to track. The Council told everyone that these humans were criminals and pirates. But privately, they were worried. How had humans hidden such large ships and new technology? And more importantly, where had they gone? What were they planning? The revenge of Earth had begun, but the Council didn't know it yet. 10 years had passed since the human ARC ships disappeared. The Galactic Council had almost forgotten about them. Almost. Kelra Dorn, a Council enforcer from the Medusan Collective, looked at the reports on her screen with growing worry. Something strange was happening in the outer parts of Council space. Important outposts and research stations were going silent. When Council ships arrived to check on them, they found empty buildings. No people, no bodies, and all valuable technology gone. "How many stations have we lost now?" asked her assistant. 23 in the past year, Kelra replied. "And no, one has seen what happens. Security cameras show nothing. Systems just stop working, people disappear, and everything valuable is taken." Some council members had started to whisper about the human ghost fleet. They thought the missing ARC ships were attacking these stations, but there was no proof, so such talk was quickly silenced. The Tritaxian Union had suffered the most losses. 3 of their mining colonies had gone dark in the past month. Their leader, High Chancellor Ziv, had asked for more security ships, but without proof of who was attacking, the council would not send them. "Do you think it's the humans?" asked the assistant. Kelra's 4 eyes blinked slowly. The Medusans, along with the Vorkans and Tritaxians, had been the ones who planned Earth's downfall. They had the most to fear if humans were seeking revenge. If it is humans, why wait 10 years? And why not attack directly? "This doesn't make sense," she said. What Kelra didn't know was that humans had been very busy during those 10 years. On the former human colony world of New Eden, now a vacation place for rich council members, Security Chief Nancy Wilson walked through the beautiful gardens. She looked like any other security officer trained by the Medusans. Her skin had been changed to look slightly blue. Her eyes were now larger. Small bumps on her forehead made her look like a member of the Plaxian race, allies of the Medusans. No, one suspected that Nancy was actually human, part of what resistance cells called the scattered. These were humans who had changed how they looked and had fake histories. They had joined council society and worked their way into important jobs. Nancy's real mission was to upload special information to the resort's communication system. This information showed that the Tritaxians had purposely damaged a Vorkan power plant, causing many deaths. The information was fake, but it looked real. It would make the Vorkans very angry at the Tritaxians. This was part of what humans secretly called Operation Nemesis. The plan was to turn the council races against each other, especially the 3 races that had betrayed Earth. Nancy found an empty office and quickly connected her small computer to the main system. She uploaded the fake information and made it look like it came from a Vorkan security office. Then she erased all signs that she had been there. "Phase 3 complete," she whispered into a hidden communicator on her wrist. In a distant part of space far from any council world, Admiral Samuel Rogers read Nancy's message with satisfaction. He stood on the bridge of the EFS Retribution, the largest ship in humanity's new fleet. The Retribution was not one of the original ARC ships. It was something new, built in secret star systems that the council didn't know about. In these hidden places, humans had been very busy. They had built not just new ships, but new weapons, new shields, and new ways to travel through space. "How many of our agents have completed their missions?" Rogers asked. His second-in-command, Captain Olivia Baker, checked her screen. 87%, sir. The remaining ones should be done within 3 days. Rogers nodded. For 10 years, they had prepared. They had sent the scattered to infiltrate council worlds. They had built a new fleet. They had gathered evidence about the conspiracy against Earth. And they had carefully studied the 3 races that had betrayed them. The Vorkans were proud and quick to anger. The Tritaxians were greedy and suspicious. The Medusans were secretive and feared looking weak. Humans had used these traits against them, planting false information that would make them distrust each other. "And what about Dr. Wright?" Rogers asked. "Our agents found her," Captain Baker said. "She's being held on the council capital world of Harmony. They never executed her as they claimed. They've been keeping her in a secret prison." Rogers' face hardened. Elizabeth Wright had been Earth's ambassador to the council. She had discovered the plot against Earth and had been arrested before she could reveal it. "Then it's time for the next phase," Rogers said. "Send the signal to all ships. Operation Nemesis enters its final stage in 5 days." At that same moment, in her cell on Harmony, Dr. Elizabeth Wright felt something she hadn't felt in years: hope. A guard had slipped her a small note during her meal. The note had only 5 words. "We're coming. Be ready, Carter." Admiral Carter had survived. Protocol Lazarus had worked. Humans were coming back. On the Tritaxian homeworld, riots had broken out. People were angry because they believed the Vorkans had stolen important technology from them. The Tritaxian government sent angry messages to the Vorkan leaders, who denied everything and accused the Tritaxians of lying. On Vorkan colonies, similar unrest was growing. Their people had heard that Tritaxians had sabotaged Vorkan ships, causing many deaths. The Vorkan military was preparing for possible war with the Tritaxians. The Medusans watched these events with concern. They tried to calm both sides, but neither would listen. The alliance that had brought down Earth was falling apart. This was exactly what humans had planned. In her office on Harmony, Kelra Dorn received an urgent message. Another station had gone silent, but this time there was a survivor. A young Medusan technician had hidden when the attack began and had seen the attackers. They were wearing black uniforms with no markings, the technician reported. They moved, very quietly, and knew exactly where everything valuable was. They spoke a language I didn't recognize. Did you see their faces? Kelra asked. The technician hesitated. Just one. When they were leaving, one of them took off their helmet. It looked like a human, but different. Blue skin, like a Plaxian, but the face shape was human. Kelra felt cold fear for the first time in her life. The humans had not just disappeared. They had changed themselves to look like other races. They had infiltrated council society. How many were there? Where were they? What positions had they taken? As she was about to report this to her superiors, all communication systems on Harmony suddenly stopped working. Emergency alarms sounded throughout the city. On every screen, in every public place, the same message appeared. We have returned. The truth will be revealed. Justice will be served. The message was in human language but translated into all council languages. Kelra ran to the window. In the sky above Harmony, hundreds of ships appeared out of nowhere. They were human ships, but not like any humans had before. They were larger, more advanced, and their design was unlike anything in the council fleet. The revenge of Earth had truly begun. Grand Admiral Samuel Rogers stood tall on the bridge of the EFS Retribution. The massive ship hung in space above Harmony, the capital world of the Galactic Council. Hundreds of other human ships appeared at the same time around the planet. They did not fire weapons. They did not need to. All communication channels are open, sir, reported Captain Olivia Baker. We are broadcasting to every council world simultaneously. Rogers nodded. Begin the transmission. Across the galaxy, on every council world, moon base, and space station, normal broadcast stopped. Screens showed the face of Admiral Rogers standing in his black uniform with gold trim. Behind him was a simple blue flag with Earth's outline in white. People of the Galactic Council, he began. 15 years ago, Earth was invaded, our people scattered, our world stripped of resources. You were told we had broken council law by contacting the Araxian species without permission. This was a lie. The broadcast then showed evidence that humans had never contacted the Araxians. It showed secret council records proving the Vorkans, Tritaxians, and Medusans had voted illegally to attack Earth. Most damning was a recording of a private meeting where leaders of the three races discussed how to divide Earth's xanthium deposits among themselves. For 10 years we have gathered evidence, Rogers continued. We have prepared, and now we demand justice. On Harmony, the council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from over 50 species shouted and argued. The Vorkan, Tritaxian, and Medusan representatives tried to deny everything, but the evidence was too strong. High Chancellor Ziv of the Tritaxians pointed at the Vorkan leader. You told us the humans were guilty. We trusted you. The Vorkan representative, Ambassador Krell, hissed with his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. You were just as eager for the xanthium as we were. Do not pretend innocence now. The other council races watched in shock as the alliance that had ruled them for years fell apart before their eyes. Suddenly, the doors to the chamber opened. Dr. Elizabeth Wright walked in, escorted by human soldiers in black uniforms. The room fell silent. Everyone had thought she was dead, executed years ago for crimes against the council. Elizabeth looked older now, with gray in her hair and lines on her face from years in prison. But she walked with strength and purpose to the central platform. Members of the council, she said. 15 years ago, I tried to show you evidence that Earth was innocent. I was arrested before I could speak. Today, you will hear the truth. As Elizabeth began to present her evidence, something unusual was happening. Throughout council space, people who had seemed to be members of various alien races began to reveal themselves as humans. On the Medusan homeworld, a high-ranking government official named Jarvo suddenly stood up during a meeting. He pressed a small device on his neck, and his blue Medusan-like skin faded away. His large eyes returned to human size. The other officials jumped back in shock. "I am Lieutenant Greg Johnson of Earth," he announced. "I have been gathering evidence of your crimes for 8 years. Similar scenes played out across council space. Security officers, technicians, teachers, doctors, people in all kinds of jobs revealed themselves as human agents. These were the scattered humans who had changed their appearance and infiltrated council society. They had not just been gathering information, they had gained access to important systems. Now they activated secret programs they had planted years ago. On military bases, weapon systems suddenly shut down. On space stations, security doors locked. On government buildings, communication systems stopped working. The Council's military found itself unable to respond to the human fleet. Back on the Retribution, Admiral Rogers received reports of the successful operations. "All key systems have been compromised," Captain Baker reported. "The Council fleet is unable to launch. Their weapons are offline. And our agents have secured Dr. Wright's safety." Rogers allowed himself a small smile. 15 years of planning. They never suspected we could do this. "Sir," Baker said quietly, "the weapons are armed and ready. We could destroy the 3 homeworlds now. The Vorkans, Tritaxians, and Medusans would be gone before they could react." Rogers shook his head. "That was never our plan, Captain. We are not here for revenge through destruction. We are here for justice through truth. The rest of the Council will judge those who betrayed us." In the council chamber, Elizabeth finished presenting the evidence. The representatives from races not involved in the plot against Earth looked angry and shocked. The Araxian representative, a tall being with silver skin, stood up. "We never had any contact with humans before today. The claim that they violated first contact protocols with us was a complete lie." One by one, representatives from other races stood to speak. They had been deceived by the 3 powerful races. They had supported the action against Earth based on false information. The head of the council, an ancient being from the Zinthi race, raised his hands for silence. "It appears we have been gravely misled. The evidence is clear. The attack on Earth was not justified by our laws. It was a crime committed by members of this very council." On the view screens around the chamber, Admiral Rogers spoke again. "We do not seek destruction. We do not ask for revenge against innocent people who were also deceived. We demand a fair trial under council law. We demand the return of our world. We demand that those responsible face justice." A message came to Rogers from one of his officers. "Sir, the council is calling for an emergency vote. They're going to try the 3 races under their own laws." Rogers nodded. This was what they had hoped for. Not just to win by force, but to win by truth. To show the galaxy that humans believed in justice even after everything that had happened. Across council space, the humans who had revealed themselves continued to stand guard over key systems. They did not harm anyone. They did not destroy anything. They simply made sure that no one could interfere with what was happening on Harmony. Elizabeth Wright stood firm in the council chamber, watching as the vote began. After 15 years of imprisonment, after seeing her world fall, she was now witnessing the beginning of justice. Outside the chamber, human ships hung in space around Harmony. They did not fire a single shot. They didn't need to. Their victory had been won long before they arrived, through patience, planning, and the careful gathering of truth. The revenge of Earth would not come through destruction. It would come through justice. The trial lasted for 3 months. Representatives from every council species came to Harmony to watch as humanity presented its case against the Vorkans, Tritaxians, and Medusans. The evidence was clear and impossible to deny. Dr. Elizabeth Wright led the human team. After 15 years of imprisonment, she stood strong as she showed recordings, documents, and testimony proving that the three races had planned Earth's downfall long before they found a reason to attack. The discovery of xanthium on Earth was reported to these three council members 6 months before humans even found it, she explained. They created a plan to take control of Earth based on this information. They invented the story about humans contacting the Araxians. The three accused races tried to defend themselves. They said they had truly believed humans were guilty. They said they had only done what was best for the council. But more evidence kept coming, making their lies clear to everyone. While the trial continued, human ships remained in position around key council worlds. They did not threaten or attack. They simply watched and waited for justice. On Earth, things were changing. Council governors were removed from power. Human resistance, fighters came out of hiding. The huge mining machines stopped digging for xanthium. For the first time in 15 years, Earth began to heal. Admiral Alan Carter, now with gray hair and lines on his face, walked through the streets of what had once been San Francisco. The city looked different now, with alien buildings mixed with human ones. But it was still Earth, still home. "Admiral," called a voice. Carter turned to see Lieutenant Frank Moore, his old officer from the space station. Moore had survived as part of the resistance on Earth. "They're about to announce the verdict. Everyone is watching." Carter followed Moore to a large screen in a public square. Hundreds of humans stood there looking up at the image of the council. Chamber on Harmony. The head of the council, the ancient Xinthi, stood to speak. "After reviewing all evidence, this council finds the governments of the Vorkan hegemony, the Tritaxian Union, and the Medusan Collective guilty of crimes against the people of Earth. They created false evidence. They broke council voting rules. They attacked a member world without just cause." A cheer went up from the crowd around Carter. After 15 years, the truth was finally known to the whole galaxy. The Xinthi continued. "By our laws, the punishment must be severe. The three governments will pay for the rebuilding of Earth. All xanthium taken from Earth will be returned or paid for. The military forces of the three species will be reduced and watched. Their leaders will be removed from power and sent into exile." On the retribution, Admiral Rogers received the news with a calm nod. "Send the order to all ships. Stand down from combat positions. The council has delivered justice." Captain Baker looked surprised. "That's it? After what they did to us?" Rogers turned to her. "What would you have us do, Captain? Destroy their worlds? Kill millions of innocent people who had no part in the decision to attack Earth? That would make us worse than they were." Baker thought for a moment and then nodded. "You're right, sir. This isn't about revenge. It's about justice." What truly shocked the galaxy wasn't just humanity's return or their evidence. It was their restraint. Despite having the power to destroy the three worlds that had hurt them, humans had chosen to use council law instead. Across council space, the humans who had been living as the scattered now revealed themselves. They had been doctors, teachers, engineers, and helpers in alien communities for years. The stories they told changed how many species viewed humans. A Plaxian family spoke of the human doctor who had saved their child during an epidemic. A Xinthi elder told of the human engineer who had fixed their colony's broken water system. More and more stories came out, all showing that humans had been quietly helping others even while planning their return. The image of humans as violent criminals created by the three guilty races fell apart as species after species shared these experiences. 1 week after the verdict, newly appointed human counselor Olivia Baker, formerly Captain Baker of the Retribution, addressed the council for the first time. "Today marks a new beginning for Earth and for the Galactic Council," she said. "We do not seek to rule others. We do not seek to punish those who were deceived. We seek only to ensure that what happened to Earth never happens to any world again." She proposed new rules for the council. More openness in voting, better checks on powerful races, and stronger protections for newer members. The council approved these changes with a large majority. On Earth, Admiral Carter stood on a hillside, overlooking the rebuilding of San Francisco. Next to him was a simple stone monument with names of those who had died during the invasion and occupation. Dr. Elizabeth Wright joined him there. "Protocol Lazarus is complete," she said quietly. "Earth has risen again, Carter nodded slowly. Not just risen. We've changed the galaxy. The council will never be the same. Was it worth the cost? Elizabeth asked, looking at the monument. Carter didn't answer right away. He thought of his wife and daughter who had not survived. He thought of all those who had been lost. No, he said finally. No victory could be worth such loss. But we honored their memory by seeking justice, not blind revenge. In the rebuilt meeting room of Earth's government, Admiral Rogers looked at maps showing humanity's new place in the galaxy. Earth was safe now. The council had changed. Humans were respected again, perhaps more than ever before. The three races thought they knew humans, he said to the assembled leaders. They thought we would either fight and die quickly, or surrender and live as slaves. They never imagined we could disappear, plan for years and return stronger than before. He looked at each face in the room. They never understood our patience, our ability to work together, or our belief in justice. They thought they were being ruthless. We showed them what ruthless truly means, not through destruction but through unrelenting pursuit of truth. As Rogers finished speaking, a message came in from a human ship near the edge of Council space. They had found a new world, rich with resources, perfect for a colony. Life would continue. Humanity would grow again. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Earth's revenge was complete, not through fire and blood, but through truth and justice. A revenge more powerful and lasting than destruction could ever be.